Hi everyone, I'm live. It's been a little while. Life has been a bit crazy. And I look bright red in a t-shirt in the middle of winter. I've been a bit unwell. I'm on lots of medication. I'll not go into that now. But just to provide some context of why I look bright red, and I'm in a t-shirt in the middle of winter. That's sort of where we're at. So that's why it's been a while. I'll talk more about that later. I don't want to go into it too much. What I do want to do today is, first of all, welcome. I've got quite a few members to the group, and I wanted to start getting more in the rhythm of doing these lives. I am a bit breathless. I really can only apologise for that. It is one of the reasons I've not been doing lots of lives, but I'm determined to do some. So, what I'm talking about today is training skills for easier walks. A lot of the time, a lot of you have signed up because you're having problems on your walks. And there's lots of information in the School for Whippets. You've got a lead walking course, you've got live recordings all about focus and reactivity. But what I want to do is give you a quick live on really quick things that we can do to achieve calmer walks with your dog. And we want these to be achievable, and we want these to be something that we can quickly put into action. Because if we're having frustrating walks, we don't always want lots of things that are going to take a long time to put into place. So I'm going to give you just 3 things today you can start to do to teach your dogs and for you to work on to get more calmness and to get more focus on your walks. So, lots of deep breaths being made. Can't do much about it, I'm sorry. The first one is my favourite, and I think it's the easiest thing in the world, and I think it's so simple that people don't do it because they think it's too simple, and we often try and overcomplicate things as dog owners. We're like, we need them to focus, so we're going to teach them a sit and a heel and all of this stuff that a lot of the time sight hounds are really not that into. We're going to start by just teaching Find It. Find It is simple. We are going to teach them that on a cue, I use Find It. We are going to say the phrase Find It, and we are going to chuck some treats on the floor next to us, and they're going to eat those treats. I use the phrase Find It because I don't use it for anything else. It is what I call a reflex cue. And a reflex cue is something that we say that means something is about to happen. And a reflex cue goes into the brain much deeper because we always just say it once and it always results in the action associated with it. So I always say Find It, and then I always scatter treats next to me. This works because we build a bank of this happening when nothing is going on. And this makes it a behaviour that your dog can do reliably and repeatedly. Eating is a behaviour, sniffing is a behaviour, and we are putting it on a cue so that when we say Find It, your dog eats those treats, and that's all they have to do. When would you use this? I would use this in a million situations, and I have done. I was talking to puppy clients yesterday. I use this to reduce excitement around other people. When Arkle was a puppy, he was really obsessed with people. He was quite conflicted. He would jump up, he would look really excited, and then they would stroke him and he would urinate himself because he was so stressed. And the problem was he would see people across the road and he'd be doing backflips and he would hurt himself quite a lot of the time. Rather than trying to force focus on him or try to force him to do a Find It, or like do a sit, or a touch or something, when he's in such a high emotional state, I would just say Find It, chuck some treats down. Whether that was the person was across the road or the person was like passing us, I would take him off to the side, Find It, he would just eat those treats. Now if I just went out and I'd not taught him the Find It game previously and I tried to do this with no background and someone approaches, he's not going to do it. But if I do it, and I, 3 or 4 times a walk when there's nothing around, it makes it into this powerful reflex. So I could use this to reduce jumping up. I could use this to reduce arousal around other dogs. So again, he went through a teenage phase of freezing and stalking a little bit. And he would see a dog, and he'd freeze, and then he'd stalk just a little bit. And that's a problematic behaviour. It's not very pleasant for other dogs, and it tells me he's not happy and he's not comfortable, because dogs with a good level of confidence and arousal control don't do that. I would just, as soon as I saw a dog, find it, food down before he could freeze. So I can use it around other dogs. I use it as a recall cue when they're off the lead. Find it every now and then. It makes you more valuable. We're not just giving them the reward of food, we're giving them the reward of sniffing. And it's such a low pressure, low stress behaviour to ask of them. It is absolutely perfect for sight hounds who can find being asked to do something quite an imposing task. And sometimes just something they don't fancy doing. So find it is at the top of my list. If you say find it for something else right now, like hiding treats in your house, use a different cue. Dogs are very, 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 very literal. Arkle knows find it is food scatter on the floor, but search is go find me a treat or a scent. So if you're already using find it for something else, you could say scatter, cheese, I don't mind. But make sure you say it once. I'm really scattering those treats around. This is going to make your life much, much, much easier. So we've got the find it game. Game number 2 you want to dive straight in on is the eye contact game that is in both the Guide to Whippets and the Rapid Recall course. Eye contact is the key to all good things. And it's one of those things that when we're working with dogs, we can often think they're a bit more connected to us than they are on walks. I've had quite a few in-person one-to-one consults recently where I've said, right, we're going to go out, we're going to do a walk. How much do you think your dog pays attention to you? And everyone goes, yeah, my dog checks in all the time. My dog loves me. And unfortunately we go out and the dog, I count how often they check in, and usually it's 0 to 5 times in around 5 minutes. Now, I don't think your dog should look up at you the whole walk. That's not good for them. They need to sniff, they need to engage, and they need to enjoy their environment. But they also need to remember you exist. This keeps telling me I've got a slow connection, and I'm not really sure why. No, none the wiser. Sorry. I need them to check. You want them to check in. A dog who checks in is less likely to fixate on dogs, less likely to jump up at people, more likely to come back to you off the lead, way more likely to disengage from a critter like a squirrel or a bunny or whatever it is that might be in your vicinity. Squirrels in our garden, it's great. Eye contact is what we need. How are we going to achieve that? You're going to practice eye contact at home, 2-minute bursts. They're offering you that eye contact, you are not prompting them. This is the really important part of the way I train, and the way I train sight hounds is I don't like to have to harass them, because I become the fun police if I do. So we're training them really deliberately in 2-minute bursts, in the living room, in the kitchen. They're offering you that eye contact. You're taking some high value treats out on walks. That could be chicken, it could be cheese, it could be ham. And you are making sure that every time they look at you, you mark them with either yes or a click or some praise, and you treat them anytime they check in. Initially, they might not check in often, but we just want to say, hey, that was a great behaviour. I like it. You can either treat them to their mouth, or you can drop a treat on the floor. Arkle loves treats on the floor. I think I keep saying treat, and he's looking over. So, being blinded by lights, it's really good. I think I might be getting a migraine. Everything's happening during this live. You're getting everything. But then again, how am I using it on my walks? I'm rewarding check-ins. I can then pause when my dog sees something they're really excited about, whether that is a dog, a person, or a critter, and I can wait for them to disengage. So I can wait for them to go from looking at that trigger to looking back to me. And I can reward them. If I want my dog to disengage from a distraction and stop fixating, they have to have an incredible foundation in offering me engagement. And if they can't offer me engagement with nothing going on, we're in a bit of a sticky situation when there's something to disengage and take themselves away from. So we want to go out, we want to practice, we want to take those treats, reward check-ins, maybe find a quiet space and deliberately train and reward them every single time they check in. Yeah. You can see a little video of that further down the group where I've done a bit with Arkle in the squirrel zone. Eye contact isn't as exciting as the other stuff, but it is the thing that's going to get you very, very quick results if you work on it quickly. Well, regularly, not quickly. Don't go and do it right away, but equally go and do it at some point. The third one is touch. Touch is simple. It's fun. Whippets love to boop that snoot onto your hand. It's very actionable. It's very movement based. We can redirect some energy with touch, and we can have some fun with it. You know, you've got the foundations for that again in Guide for Whippets, Rapid Recall, probably a couple of other things. Touch is great. We like touch because it gets your whippet moving. So that if you haven't seen, it is just them touching your hand with their nose. But if you build up a history where you play this regularly, your dog boops that snoot against your hand, and I would start to at home throw that treat away, so they're chasing it and they're coming back and they're jumping up towards it, and we're really making it into a game, then we can start to use this on walks to just have fun with our dog, create a bit of engagement. I have been able to do quite a lot of work with Arkle because he has actually been healthy while I have been ill. It's a very weird flip for those of you that have been here a while. It's the weirdest flip on the planet. He's like, come on. I'm like, I can't breathe. But we're trying. And on walks he's checking in quite a lot because he's happier, he's not in pain. There's a long history. I won't go into it. But he's happier, he's in less pain. So he's checking in. This morning on our walk, he was like walking next to me for a good 2 minutes, looking up like, hey, I want to do something with you. I want to enjoy some time with you on this walk. So we did some touches and we engaged together and we had a good time. There wasn't anything around, but it builds that value in me. He likes the touch game. The touch game can be a reward in itself, and that's what we were doing on our walk. He was saying, I want to play. Now, because of Arkle's medical conditions, I am resigning myself to the fact he probably can't do tuggy play. It's very frustrating because he's my first dog who's wanted to do it, but he jinks his neck when he does it, and I just want him healthy. I just want him happy. So we're sort of resigning ourselves. We've not got that. So I'm turning touch into a reward for him, and it's working that way. If he sees another dog, sometimes I can ask him to touch, and he's like, yeah, I'd much rather do touch with you. Is that going to work for a super reactive dog? No, absolutely not. And I wouldn't be waving my hand around the face of a super reactive dog. But if I've got a dog who's fixated and maybe they can't disengage themselves, again, this is not people, dogs, birds, critters, I want to be able to move to one side and go touch, and my dog comes bolting back to me. Arkle is watching going, I could do a touch. If I had some treats, I would train him live, but I wasn't actually prepared for him to be awake because he had a really long walk for him today. I must give you just an update on him for those of you that have been here a while. But we've got touch. It's fun. It's engaging. It's movement based, and it gets them from being stuck in that sometimes very whippety mindset of just overthinking things and then stressing up. So find it. Eye contact, touch. These are 3 really simple things you can start to work on to get more of a reaction from your dog on your walks. This does take time, and it does take you practicing deliberately. Practice at home, practice in 3 different rooms in your house, That's my homework for you all. And then start to find quiet places on walks to deliberately practice. If you just go from the house to the deep end, that's going to be too far. Your dog needs these gaps in between where they can practice their learning and be successful at that learning. So, I did it. I did it with, oh God, without clicking anything wrong, she says. Just clicked some wrong things and now I'm going blind. Oh, that's a bit better. I did it. So that's where we're at. They're training skills for your whippets. If you're watching this later, you ask comments. You can ask questions, put in comments whenever you can, and I will come back and answer them. If you are new to the group, feel free to introduce yourself, add a post about your whippet, tell me what you're struggling with, and I can help you. If you don't tell me and you try and go alone, sometimes that can be really tricky. I am pretty much at home a lot more than I was. For some context, I have been quite ill probably since February, and I did the very bad thing of just pretending it would all go away if I didn't acknowledge it, basically. And I got very ill in September, and I've been sort of in and out of hospitals. I have been diagnosed, thankfully, with ulcerative colitis. I say thankfully. It is a deeply unpleasant condition, and I have it quite severely, unfortunately. And I'm on some very high doses of steroids to manage me until I can get a consultant's appointment. During that time, I am breathless, I'm nauseous, and every other symptom you can Google about it. It's probably what I'm experiencing. It's why I've been a little lacking, and I do apologise to those of you who are regulars. I'm very weak, but it has given me a lot to think about, it's given me a lot to consider, and I'm really, really keen on making sure I have this community up and running, and I'm very keen on adding lots of new things to the School for Whippets. I am I've got notes everywhere, this is my life, videos to record. It always relies on both me and Arkle being well at the exact same moment, but we are getting there. If there's anything you want to see that you don't see, ask me. It might be that I don't have it right now, but I can send you information, or I can try and whip up a video. As I say, I'm not in full-time in-person work, which means I am much more full-time online work. Your support is always massively appreciated. I'm sorry for the breathlessness. I have been put on some new tablets today, which will hopefully start to kick in soon, and then I can get some more of these videos done and these videos recorded. I will do some more lives. I can do lives on anything you like. If you look at the information library, there is a lot of lives in there which might already cover a topic that you're looking for help with, but if you'd like an updated one or you don't see that information, I am more than happy to do a live on it. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, questions or queries, you can either ask in the group, and that can be very good for everyone to see information and get answers, or you can message me, WhatsApp me or email me directly if you would prefer. I hope you all are having a lovely evening and a lovely week, and do keep in touch with how you're getting on. Thanks for watching.